All right. So, like I said, intentional drills for the running back, talking really in season training, but really you can use these things when you're out of season as well in terms of how you put together and organize your drills, what you're trying to get accomplished with your drills, what they're meaning, what you're working on. So, as you look at this pie chart, you've got your everyday drills, you've got your drills. In my opinion, you got to do some type of drill work to work on balance. And so I'll show you kind of my series of drills that I do that I'm working on balance with the guys. You have to have drills that improve vision. So we'll go through some of the things I work on, in terms of run reads and drills for a player's vision. Drills to improve coordination, whether it's bags or ropes, ladders, whatever those different things are. The other thing I think you need is you have to have your different tempos of drills. You need your what I would call your high intensity drills, where guys are lathered up and you're going to work. And then I think you need some low intensity drills where guys haven't stretched yet, but they're on the field, and you're trying to get something productive done. And then kind of goes without saying that your ball security is going to fit within your coordination, your vision, and your balance drills, your foot quick drills. That's going to all be part of it as we go too. So this next clip is really just, I just put this on because I think I like this player, number one, but I think it's just kind of interesting just to see some of the drill work when the best players go to the combine. This is the workout that those guys do: change of direction, angle running, a lot of catching of the ball, down the field, short area. And then, as coaches, we're trying to evaluate what a kid can and or can't do. So I just figure we start with this tonight and then get into some more and get into more stuff. Working different routes, flat routes, angle routes, a couple different ball drills that are you're going to see here as well. You know, we could sit here and critique a whole bunch in terms of, he's a low carriage guy when he runs with the ball. The ball is a little bit low and loose when he runs with it. And once again, another receiving drill that's done that people do, with their guys that can be incorporated into your work. Short shuttle. Okay, but that'll kind of be the primer to get us going a little bit this evening. And then once again, things that we're working on and developing. Once again, another pie chart just showing, the run reads portion of it, your ball security and agility portion of it, your B&Bs, or what I term B&Bs, balance and body control drills, your blocking drills, and then whether it's your route teach and or your ball drills, kind of putting all those things together, making sure you're hitting those things, or at least I like to hit those things, and have 4 to 5 drills that fit each piece of that pie. And then I just rotate my drills based on the install or based what I want to get accomplished that particular day. But, from a game week standpoint, when we're in season, we're trying to make sure we can get our players ready for game day. And some drills you might have to bring out based on what's going to be installed, what's in the run plan, what's in the protection plan, what's in the pass arsenal. You may have to do different things. And as a reminder, hey, we got the 4 pillars. We're running the ball, we're blocking for the ball, we're running routes, and we're protecting the ball. And so I'm going to make sure those things are always worked on and hammered. And then they should always, in my opinion, your drills implemented should be aimed at training specific skills. Like, it's at times it's good to drill, but more often than not, you should be drilling with with a specific skill you're trying to get taught. And every skill can be trained. It's our job as coaches to come up with a drill to train the skill. And I'm a firm believer of that. Everybody does some version of stance and start. Once again, to me, this is one of your low impact drills. You have to do it, or you're going to combine your stance and starts with the quarterback, and you're going to work some version of ball, mesh with the quarterback period. But just real quick, talking about the stance, not to take anything for granted. You got 2-point stances, 3-point stances. I always teach feet shoulder width apart. kind of distributing the weight on the inside halves of your feet. I don't want them on your toes. I don't want it back on your heels. I want it on the inside halves of your feet. Toes are to the goal line. We're resting our hands on our thighs and our heads up, and our eyes are going to scan the defense. I don't want guys just to look at where the ball's supposed to go. Okay. 3-point stance. We take our 2-point stance and then we put our dominant hand on the ground. I'm a big believer in not staggering your feet out of your 3-point stance. I want you to be able to go equally right and left with the same movement. Slight pressure on the hand. The other hand's going to rest across my knee. And then we'll just work our starts from there by just calling out the play. So I'll get, in this drill, you can see this is a low impact drill. We'll work inside zone left, inside zone right. So I'm calling out the play. The backs are going through their footwork. And then we can just change up what we're doing, whether it's inside zone or outside zone or counter or isolation. That's just the way I like to do it. I never try to do anything with just one guy at a time. I like to have 2 or 3 guys working. And I get to the point where I think I can see 3 guys doing something and be able to coach all 3 of them up. So I probably would never have 4 guys going at one time because I don't know if I can see it as well, but I feel 3 is kind of my max number where I can kind of see everything out of my periphery and get things coached up. So, you're looking at a low impact drill to start prior to us having stretched or prior to us being lathered up. Here's the same drill. Now here in college, I had fullbacks and tailbacks. So the fullbacks would go up and they would do the footwork, and then the tailbacks would line up and the tailbacks would do the footwork. So when I had both position groups, that's how I would train them. Fullbacks go, then tailbacks go. When I just had halfbacks like you do at the pro level, if you're playing 11 personnel, then the tailbacks all just worked. The ball security, a lot of different things you can do with ball security. We've already had the conversation a little bit about the 4 points of pressure or 5 points, depending on how you're coaching it and what you coach. But to me, the most critical part is having that back tip of the elbow, the back tip of the ball, locked in your elbow. Then we've got pressure with our forearm and rib cage and hand and wrist on the football. One of the things you can do that's, once again, a low impact drill is work just your ball pump, pumping the ball, running in place, basically. We've had different discussions in terms of chinning the ball, high and tight, wrist above the elbow, all those things. And then you can play what I term tug of war, where one guy has the ball, then there's a defender behind trying to work the ball out stationary and trying to work the ball out when you're moving. Obviously, 2 examples of a ball carrier carrying the football, one being what we would all think is really solid ball security. Obviously, one being he'll get you fired if that happens too often. So protecting the ball, difference between being high and tight and low and loose. So once again, here's some just ball security drills, what I would term just a ball pump drill. Whether you have someone trying to hit the ball out in front or behind, here's kind of more what I would term kind of tug of war, where guys are having the ball hit, out from behind on top. You can be a little bit more violent than I think these guys are, but I think we're understanding the premise of this. This is another drill where it's tug of war as you're moving, both right and left hand. And this one, to me, when you're coaching this drill up, you don't want the guy running with the ball to run at full speed and try to run away. Here's the same drill, but using 2 footballs. And I really like this drill. Get 2 footballs in the hands, and then you got a guy on the right and a guy on the left trying to dig and get the ball out. So a lot of different ways to do it. Hopefully we'll see a few things that you guys do or have seen this evening, but that last drill is really one that I'm a big fan of. From a foot quickness and agility standpoint, or change of direction standpoint, okay? I've got a series of drills that I do with cones. I have a series of drills that I do with bags. And so if I'm working with a manager, I can just say, hey, we need the cones today because we're going to work all cone drills. And that helps make my transitions easier. If we were going to be working the bags, then we're pulling out the bags. And once again, we're going to do our bag circuits. And then once again, hopefully that's making my transitions easier. There's going to be some drills, as you'll see when we get going here, that I'll have cones and bags, and I'll try to set up multiple drills or have a drill have multiple purposes. And I think I'll be able to illustrate that to you as we go. But one of the things I do is I do what I term a circle and accelerate. I like this for an evaluation tool, and I like it from just a foot quickness tool. Is, as you'll see on the film, setting up cones about 2 yards apart, having a ball carrier have the ball in the right arm, start on the right side of the first cone, sprint to the second cone, and do a 360 or circle the cone, still facing forward, still with their head up, trying to get their feet as tight as they can to the cone. So I like it. Your feet are moving in one plane, but your eyes are still up and you're working downfield. We'll do that and have that be a competitive drill where I have two guys go together and they'll basically be racing. Then another drill I really like is what I term a tight slalom, where I'll have a line of cones, maybe a yard apart, and then we're going to slalom in between the cones as fast as we possibly can. On all of these, I want to have a finish. So when I'm talking to the guys, we could be doing a drill and it's going to be, hey, we're doing whatever this drill is, and then I want a jump cut finish, or I want a spin finish, or I want a plant and cut finish. And the guys know on air they're going to simulate that move. The other thing we do is we do jump cut drills. I have about 3 or 4 different ways that I work the jump cut, whether it's off bags, which you're going to see on here, and or cones, which you're going to see on here. And the key coaching point to me on the jump cut is staying flat on the same plane and not gaining ground when you jump cut. So if you envision a defender getting ready to tackle you at the 6-yard line and you're coming from the goal line and you make that jump cut at about the 5.5-yard line, you should land still on the 5.5-yard line and then work vertical. When you make that jump cut, you shouldn't land at the 6-yard line and have jumped up the field into the tackle. We've got to get lateral and then burst up the field. So I'll kind of explain that as we go. And then I like this star or 5-cone zigzag drill. I've called it different things, but it's a drill really to tighten up footwork on outside zone. So when a defender is trying to make a tackle coming inside out and your shoulders are on an angle, you're not squared up on the defender. So this 5-cone zigzag to me is a really, really good tool for that. Here's another drill, this T drill, that is a good foot quickness and a coordination drill where we're going to step over the bag. The bags are laid in a T. We're stepping over the bag with our inside foot, and we're going to travel in front of the T, back behind, then back across, and then it's another change of direction and burst out. So that's one version of it. And then I have it set up the same way. So now when we come back, we're running inside zone, we're pressing the heels, we're jump cutting and then running over top of the bag. So this setup for me on this T drill is both to do the T drill with your quick footwork, but then to come back and work your inside zone stuff. Here's an example of the circle and accelerate. Try to be as tight as you can to the cone without your head looking down. Have your feet be able to maneuver while your head is up, looking at the point of attack or looking at your read or looking at defenders. And so once again, I like this as a competitive drill for guys, kind of get them paired together. When we're going on the right side of the cones, the ball's in the right hand. When we get over, flip over and come back, we would put the ball in our left hand. Okay, so just an example of what I term circle and accelerate. And you want to stay as tight to the cone without obviously knocking the cone down. I don't want big, wide circles around the cone. I want your feet nice and tight as you're working through it. Here would be the tight slalom. Okay, working through with a spin finish. So everybody's working the tight slalom as quick as they can, still keep the ball locked to your body. You get to the safety, and now we're going to make a spin finish. Some guys obviously can do this drill a lot smoother than others. And to me, it's as fast as you can get through them. I don't say it's, you got to cut on your outside foot. I don't say you got to run through. It's as quick as you can get through it and then work your finish. So I talk ball, body control is to me making several different planes of movement as you're still working up the field. Here's that 5-cone zigzag for outside zone. We've got the cones 5 yards apart. We put one cone in the middle. We're to the center cone, around it, back to the outside. So everything's a sharp cut. So if I'm running outside zone and the 3 technique stretches and I got to make my cut up, this is what I'm hoping helps train me for that. Okay, and there'll be some good examples. And once again, we're going to transition right into the other drill. I don't like to waste a lot of time if I can help it, switching up a drill and changing a drill around. We'll hit this one, and then right away we'll go right next to it, and then I've got my a jump cut drill set up as well. So boom, line moves over. We're over 3 cones, over 3 bags, hit the cone, vertical jump cut. Once again, I don't want guys working up the field on this. So I like to put this more on a line than anything to make sure they're forced to not get up the field. So here are all those runs on an angle where we're going to put our foot in the ground, our shoulders are on a 45, the defender's coming inside out, but we're going to plant and come up underneath the defender. So same thing, I'm on a 45, that initial cut. Another look here, on an angle here, plant and cut, run inside a defender who's trying to make an inside out tackle on me. Another picture here of the same reason we would use that particular drill. Okay, so there's just an example of some of that stuff. My stair step ladder, I'll show you that here, just putting the bags in a pattern where once again, we're gonna be running laterally over the bags and then vertically over, then laterally vertical, basically like the stairs. And then we've got bag agilities where we're gonna have the bags lined up, and there's 25, 30 different drills you can be doing with bags, but I like to run over the top. I like to slalom. I like to shuffle, and then I have a back pedal burst portion of that. So the stair step drill is once again, just working over the top and across the bags. The one coaching point I would make to you guys, if you guys do this drill, the way it's set up here, I'm going to pause it so I can explain this to you because it took me a minute to really get this figured out. So when they started and went over the bags, the first direction, they're all stepping to the left. Mm-hmm. If you leave the same exact setup, when you come back, you're still working to the left. Mm-hmm. So the smart thing to do would be when they come back, have them take this first bag that the next guy is about to step over, remove that bag and put it at the end and make the last ladder over that last bag, and now have them face the bags like we're looking at the TV screen. And that's your start. And now you're going to go over to the right. So it took me a minute doing this drill to figure that out, that, hey, I'm doing this drill. They're going back and forth, but they're going the same direction. And then it would be, okay, the next day, set it up the other way so they go the other direction. Well, you can set this drill up this way. They go left, but then once again, take this very first agile, put it at the end, and then have them start as they're facing the field here. And then now they would be going to the right. So just, to make your drill better and get really coach what you want to get, that's really what you got to do. But we'll take the same setup and then we'll just work jump cuts. So once again, what I'm trying to get accomplished here is different body movements, still working forward, still being able to keep your body control. And so I want to see multiple moves as we advance up the field. That's part of my definition of body control. Here's an example. Let me just explain what we're doing here. Okay, so here's an example of what we're working on. Is we're basically working, once again, outside run. So we're gonna shuffle over these first 2 bags. After he shuffles over the first 2 bags, he's gonna run the angle on an outside zone. So you can kind of see where that first bag to the left is. So he's gonna run the 45-degree angle there. He's going to work over top of another group of bags, and then I'm going to be standing there. And then I'm going to, late as he's coming over the bags, I'm going to give him direction to make a jump cut. and I'm going to have my hands down near my waist, and it's going to be really subtle hand movements in terms of which direction I want him to make his cut. So I'm not telling them you're all jumping right or you're all jumping left. I'm giving them subtle movements with my hands, and my hands are going to be low down near my waist as they're doing this drill. So just to give you guys an example, an idea of what we're getting accomplished. It's our outside zone stuff, and then we've got our jump cut to finish. The later you give them the direction, the more challenging it is for the back in terms of making that hard jump cut. And I like having those cones about a yard from the bag, so they really got to work it. Now this particular run is going to be that drill. You're going to see him make a 45, taking the outside zone. He's going to put his foot in the ground and go vertical up the hash mark. This safety is going to show up, and he's going to make a jump cut on the safety. So this play is basically the drill that we just ran, in the game. So there's the 45, there's the vertical cut, there's an unblocked defender, there's the jump cut, and then to finish up the field. Okay, a lot of different ways to do step over stuff. We can run through one way, balls in the right, go back the other way, balls in the left. Here's an example in a game situation of a back having to run over the top of a fallen lineman in the hole. Okay, so it should be something that's very, very easy because it's something that we do all the time. Lateral shuffle and run, okay, is once again, as you see, just we're going to lateral shuffle, then get over top of the bag. Here's a run. I'm gonna slow this one down for you so you really see what's going on here. Okay, so we have the lateral shuffle, okay, where he's staying square and his feet are going, he's not crossing over his feet. Okay, so this is one drill where his feet aren't crossing over. This drill here, when he runs, he's going to cross his feet over. So he's going to run through, try to stay as square to the camera as he can, but he's going to cross over. His back leg is going to cross his front leg as he's running through. Okay, so this is a little bit more challenging than that previous drill. And then here's another slalom. We did the slalom on the cones, and then we can do a slalom on the bags. And then once again, we can coach up ball security. We can coach up all the different things that we want. Here's kind of a slalom run with a couple different change of directions for the ball carrier. Okay, for some balance stuff, I like to do things where guys get their hands on the ground, or where we're going to give force. So like running through a blaster, if guys got tires or they got the blaster, to me that falls into your balance deal. I'm going to do a double touch drill where guys are going to run, ball in the right, they're going to reach down, try to get their palm all the way on the ground, and then push themselves back up to balance. And we'll do that 2 and 3 times. So that's what I term double touch. The 360 is going to be the same drill. We're going to have a ball in our right hand. We're going to run out 5 yards. We're going to put our left hand on the ground. And then I'm going to pivot on my hand that's on the ground and bring my feet around and do a 360, then turn back, get up running, and go again. And then what run the line is for me is, and I don't have this on film, but I'll explain it. Run the line would be the old gauntlet drill where, let's say there's 4 guys holding hand shields, 2 on each side. They're right next to each other, and the guys got to run through the pads. Well, what I like to do with this run the line is I like to spread those guys out. So let's say there's one guy on the right side at 2 yards, one guy on the left side at 5 yards, one guy on the right side again at 7 yards, and then one guy on the left at 9 yards. And I try to put it right on one of the yard lines or right on the sideline. So when the ball carrier is running through, he's trying to stay on the line as best he can as his buddies are trying to knock him off the line as they hit him. So we can run the line and just work on staying on the line, and then we can run the line and double touch. So you can have them run the line, and then they're trying to double touch as they're getting hit. So it's just different ways to work on the balance. I don't have that particular drill on film, but I have one that's similar that we'll see. So here's the 360 drill. What I mean by 360, I got the ball in my right hand, my left hand goes on the ground. I come up running. I can give them resistance. So I got a bag and I can hit guys and try to knock them over as they're doing this. So this is, like I said, I like doing this just to work on our balance. I can harass them. I can grab at the ball, whatever I need to get done. This is an example of just the double touch, same thought process. Guys are going to run. They're going to try to put their palm on the ground and then push themselves back up, so we can continually be working on our balance. You can do it without resistance. Okay, and this is a good one to look at. Okay, so I want to just coach this up. I want you guys to look at the guy up top first. Okay, the guy up top is wrong in how he's doing it. And when I say wrong, I don't want you to just bend down and put your hand straight down in front of your foot like number 27 to the left is doing. I want you more like 34 to the right, where his arm extends out in front of his body. He's actually off balance and he's got to use his force to knock himself back up. So just watch the guy to the left first. I'm going to let this play twice. He just puts his hand down right underneath him. He doesn't get his palm on the ground. He's really not off balance. And if you look at 34 here to the right, this is what the drill is to me. Okay, his full palm is on the ground. It's out in front of him. He's off balance and he's got to right himself. That's what we're trying to get accomplished with this particular drill. And then once again, we can give resistance or just have him go without any resistance. And obviously I like to give some resistance so they can really work, and then hopefully you get runs that show up like this.
Stephen Powell on the right side.
Okay, here's a team drill. Okay, so this was a team ball security drill for the offense, ball destruction drill for the defense that we've done and got guys paired up together in groups. And now we're working the drill across the football field. So this is a team drill. You can obviously do this not in a team setting and just with your backs, but this was something that we did in Detroit, where everybody was involved in ball security and everybody was involved in ball destruction, offense and defense. Okay, so just give you an idea of what a setup for a drill like this could look like if you've got multiple people doing it. And then just another example of a double touch in an inside run period. Okay. One of the low intensity things I really like to do with the guys is what I term pattern running. And so pattern running to me is we're gonna go stance and starts and we're gonna run a play. As I give you the play, then I'm gonna give you a reaction from the defense. And then after I give you the reaction from the defense with a verbal cue, you're gonna make the appropriate decision with the ball. And then you're going to continue to work upfield, and then you're going to work one of four finishes on the safety. It's either going to be, once again, a jump cut, a plant and cut, a spin, or a stiff arm. So here's how it would work. I would say, okay, guys, we've got inside zone right, we got fast with the linebackers, and I want a spin finish. So everybody would start inside zone to the right. They'd get to the line of scrimmage. Because I told them it was fast flow with both backers, the ball would bend all the way out the back door of the defense. They'd work vertical up the field, and then they'd finish with a spin move. Or I could say to them, okay, we've got inside zone. We're going inside zone left. We got slow flow front side. So then the ball is going to start inside zone left. The ball is going to cram front side because the backer was slow, so they'll stay on their course. And then if it was, let's say it was a jump cut finish, then they'll finish with a jump cut. So my pattern run is just giving verbal cues to the running back and then them executing based on what was said to them. And once again, low impact, prior to being stretched, fully stretched, but a really good drill, in my opinion, to get their minds right. My run reads are going to be done a couple different ways. If I don't have a lot of support staff or any support staff, then I'll just use agile bags as my blockers, and I'll give the reaction from the linebacker position. If I have a helper or GA manager, then I'd like to use two bodies. And then sometimes I use the backs as blocking, part of the blocking unit as well. From a run read standpoint, we drill everything. We can drill full reads, half reads, gap scheme runs, zone runs, lead runs, the front side of the run, the back side of the run. In my opinion, this is my most important drill that I do with the players, is teaching them their vision and the progression of their eyes when they get the football. Excuse me. Here's a few other just read and react drills. I've done this where, and let me just pause it because I think it's worth saying here. So this particular drill you can do a lot of different ways. The feedback I got from the players is they like this drill this way better. And when I say this way better, I mean the offensive, they're reacting to the offensive blocker. They're not reacting to the coaches being on the other side of the bags and then tilting the bag one way or the other, where in their opinion, they're reacting to defenders. So when we would do this, they wanted it done where one of the coaching points I'm always making in my jargon I talk is, for we read the hat of the blocker. Blocker's hat's to the right, that's where you're going. Blocker's hat's to the left, that's where you're going. So they never felt they were reading the blocker's hat when we were doing this drill, and all the coaches were on the other side of the bags facing them and then just moving the hand shield or the big bag. So just sharing that with you. They liked it this way a lot better. And it's just reading a single block, which is important in what we do. They've got to be able to read a single block. They've got to be able to read a double team block as they go as well. So this would be, like I said, just one single read block drill. Here's an example working off the receiver's block on the safety. It's really the same drill when we get to the second level, reading 17's block and making the blocker right by putting the ball on the correct side of leverage. And once again, a lot of things I coach is just running to the hat of your block of your blocker. Just a couple of examples of what I mean by that. You know, my blocker's hat is on the left side, 77 across the hole. I'm going to help set that block up and work that side of the block. You know, my run reads, I can do a lot of different ways. I like using the big bags as my offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Me and my manager here are giving the reaction in terms of the backers, you know, and everything as we've talked. You know, I'm always talking about the flow of the backers, fast and slow, and the ball being put in the correct gap. So here's just an example of how we take that coaching from the meeting room to the field. This would be kind of an example what I work on. Like I said, right now we're working on the zone run game. You know, fall back, you know, step 2 fall back read form on split zone. Okay, fast on regular zone. So here will be a fast read off the backers. So once again, this is one of the ways that I train up and do my run reads. Here's a great picture. Okay, let me pause this one because the picture's too good. All right, so we're zoning. We're running a split zone action to the left. So we've got a zone 98 with our left guard and our left tackle, as 98 sits in that C gap. So initially pre-snap, you'd probably be thinking, we're not going to get that done. 98 is going to keep leverage. The ball's going to be forced backside. But the back's got to be tied into the blocking scheme. And when we bring that wing tight end back across the formation for 48, 98 falls back inside. The ball carrier is reading that backer on his own concept, and now he's able to get the ball in the open gap of the defense. So, this particular rep is a good rep based on, to me, the execution of the ball carrier. Okay, some outside zone run read stuff. So what we're working on now is a tackle covered look. So the tackle and tight end are working independently of one another. We're reading the end man on the line of scrimmage, and we're going to make the vertical cut, whether it's in the C gap. If we get leverage, then we'll continue it all the way out to the D gap. If we get both the end and the SAM to work outside, then we'll make that vertical cut up inside. But we go through stuff on the board. We teach the scheme up. Then we've got to be able to have the drills to help work that skill or that part of it. So we have certain drills that we work. This is one of the drills that I'll work when I'm working on the outside zone. You saw the other drill when I had them going over the bags, 45, and then over the bags. You saw the 5-cone zigzag where we're working really portions of the outside zone as well. So there's several things. If I'm trying to target outside zone running, I've got 3 to 4 to 5 different drills that I'm gonna make sure we're working through. Same type of run reads drill. We're working our gap scheme runs. So the bags on the left are the deuce, working to me as the backside linebacker. If it's normal and the backside linebacker stays behind, the ball pierces front side, so standard operating procedure there. Working nice and tight inside out. Drop step footwork I like to run on power when we're running it from the top of the eye or the home position. Another picture here, backside linebacker stays behind the deuce, so the ball's able to rip front side. Low and loose ball security there. But we'll take the 70-yard run. All right. So here's the example now of the backside linebacker coming over top of the deuce. So now I want the ball to replace inside the deuce. So that's what we're working on here. We talk about it in the meeting room. We draw it up. We explain why, and then we have the drill for it. So when it happens in a game and the backside linebacker runs over top of the deuce, we don't miss that cut inside the deuce block and replace. So once again, I talked to you guys at the beginning about having intentional drills. And what is the intent of your drill? Well, the intent of that drill we were just working is to be able to execute power and get the ball in the open gap. And then the third thing I think that's going to show up on here, okay, is here it is, perfect. Okay, then the third thing that shows up when you're running a gap scheme run is the guy that we're deucing, he gets knocked out of his gap, but now we split the deuce. So that's what we're working on here. So you'll see the manager here is going to step outside or he's going to step inside. And so if he steps outside and he's occupying this gap here and that linebacker's still in behind, then that ball is going to go split the deuce. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're working on with this particular part of the read, is we're splitting the deuce when the 3 technique gets knocked out of the gap. So here's an example of the 3 technique getting knocked out of the gap. So right now we're watching that 3 technique who's occupying the B gap. And as this play unfolds, his ends up getting knocked into the C gap. So he is no longer the B gap defender. And so we've got an open gap in between the guard and the tackle, and we go attack the open gap of the defense. So that's what we're trying to do. So once again, I'm going to keep coming back to this, what I term intentional drilling for a particular purpose. Here's a drill that I like when I'm teaching the duo football play, which is more tight inside zone. We're downhill. I want the shoulder square. I want us attacking the A gap. And now we're going to make a series of jump cuts until we find an open gap. If the quarterback, if the linebacker mirrors you, you got to keep finding an open gap. If the linebacker doesn't mirror you, then the first open gap you get to, that's where you go pierce the defense. So that's what we're working on this particular drill, is working duo, tight inside zone, shoulder square. I want the illusion of inside run, but the reality is the ball's probably going to end up off tackle through the defense. Okay, and the big key here is to not miss an open gap. If you've got an open gap, you take the open gap. So there's a good example of the linebacker one over the top, and we took the first inside gap. Okay, another example of it. Okay, so once again, this particular drill works duo and what I'm working there. This is just a reaction drill. So once again, here's what I was talking about earlier. You can do different reaction drills where you're behind the bags, okay, and you're given movement. My guys got to the point where they did not like these type of drills as much as they like the drills where they were able to read a block as opposed to react to defenders. So for whatever that's worth. And then as the bag holders, we could do whatever we want. And all my communication to the guys holding those agiles next to me would just be, hey, we're all right. We're all left. Hey, you go left, I'm staying. And it would just be quick communication to get them to execute. When they come downhill, I want them to be able to come downhill toward the middle bag. This is another drill. This is more of a team drill where we're going to try to work some open field stuff. So as you can see, we've got from the numbers to the sideline. Now, the numbers on the pro field are wider, or excuse me, closer to the middle of the field than the numbers on the high school field and college field. So just if you want to do a drill like this, you might have to space it out slightly different based on where the numbers are. But this is, once again, just an open field drill. The defenders are trying to come downhill, keep gaining ground to the ball and make a touch. As ball carriers, we're trying to use our angles, our tempo, our speed to force defenders to miss a tackle. Okay, so, so some of this stuff, you can set up drills to work things like this. So here's just an example of once again, that particular setup of a drill. The defenders are on the ground, and you can see some offensive players going as defenders because we use this as like a special teams deal as well. Offensive guys are going to be forced to make tackles. Here's a nice job in tight quarters with Big LeGarrette, making a guy miss a tackle in tight space with his feet, not his shoulders. And then here's a similar drill, but you can see it's more close quarters. So this is another type of drill where you can work on, you don't always have to work on either pass blocking and pass receiving when you get with the linebackers. You can also work on tackling. And so we're working on drills. There's no running over people in this drill. It's just jump cuts, it's planting cuts, it's spins. We're trying to use tempo to get guys off balance. We're going to try to attack half a man, those type of coaching points. For this particular drill. And so it's like the defender is working back like he's dropping in coverage, and then he's got to come up and come to balance. And then ball carriers, once again, we're in tight quarters and we're trying to do things with our feet, not our shoulders. That's the whole emphasis of this. There'll be a time and a place to do things with our shoulders and beat them with our pads. Right now, we're trying to defeat tackles with our feet. Mm-hmm. from a block progression, whether it's run or pass, these things to me fit all together. We're going to have to work and strike the defender. Okay, so whether I'm run blocking or whether I'm pass protecting, I've got to strike the defender. I can't catch the block. I can't have my hands extended in front of me and absorb his momentum. I've got to have my hands recoiled, and then I got to strike as I get in a position to contact. I'd like to have leverage, meaning inside with my hands and lower with my pads than the guy I'm blocking. If we're running a kick out block, I would target the inside half or the inside number. If I'm running a lead block, I'm going to try to run right through the midline of the defender. If I was running a load, in one scheme I was in, we would run load was the name of it. So we were trying to get outside leverage to an outside target and circle the field. So those would be my target areas I would be trying to hit on a particular block. Once again, we're striking with our hat and hands. We got bent knees with pad level. We've got to accelerate our feet on contact. A lot of people in the run blocking phase, their feet go dead on contact. I don't want your feet to go dead. I want you to accelerate your feet on contact, and we're going to strain and finish and try to displace the defender. If we're talking about pass progression, we still have the same strike. We're going to have our set be different based on what's the rush. Is it an interior rush? We're going to square up that defender. If it's an exterior rush, I'm gonna try to block and set the inside number. When I strike, I want to work my elbows in, my thumbs up. I want to strike and make contact with my palms, that hard surface on my palms, and I want to be able to grab cloth after the strike. I'm not a big proponent of recoiling your hands after you punch. So I punch the defender and then I take my hands off of him and punch him again. I don't like doing that. I like to punch the defender and then try to grab cloth so I have an opportunity to try to control him. We're going to keep our hands inside. I'd liken to use the term, after the punch, we sit back in the chair. We don't stay leaning forward so we don't get grabbed forward. Hands remain inside, grab cloth, move our feet, don't cross over. And we've got to be able to fight through the whistle. Okay, here will be a couple different drills, what I term quick hands, where we're just working our punch. We can be doing it here from a kneeling position. We can be doing it from a standing position. Let me just make note of this. Okay, the athlete closest to us in the film, he's got a towel under his arms. And the reason he's got a towel under his arms is because one of his issues is when he would go to strike and punch, his elbows would come wide away from his body, and hence his hands would get wide. So he had a funny, way of trying to strike. As opposed to bringing the hands forward, his elbows would flare out. So I started using a towel with him to try to force him to keep his elbows in. This is another good tool to use if you guys coach the kickoff return guy or the punt returner in terms of having them catch punts and kickoffs with a towel, because once again, it forces their elbows to stay tight to their body. Okay, so that's why you see that. Just wanted to explain that to you. Okay, so we're giving the quick hands again. We're trying to shoot our hands low to high on our target. We can step and punch. And when I say step and punch, it's really two steps. It's right, left. Okay, so here, let's coach off this. Let's get better. Okay. This first athlete is doing the drill, in my opinion, the correct way. He's going to take a small step with his right foot, and then he's going to take a small step with his left foot. And then once he's back to balance, he's going to punch and strike. The second athlete is going to step with his right foot, then punch, and then step with his left foot, which I don't like. I want both of your feet to be in the ground, squared up with a quick foot fire, and then deliver your punch. So to me, the first one is correct. The second one is not, because he steps right foot, punches, and then brings the left foot. Okay, I like that one. Now just strain more low to high. That one I don't like because his right foot didn't hit the ground when he was punching. So it's get your feet, low foot fire, and then deliver the punch. I want both feet to be in the ground, because if the defender tries to shake you, then you can move. If you got one leg in the air, 1 foot in the air, and 1 foot on the ground, and he makes a move, then you can't redirect. So it's quick foot fire, both feet in the ground, and then we're delivering our strike and our punch, and we're trying to exaggerate low to high, extending the hands, changing the momentum of the body up through the top of their head. We can set and punch, okay, inside rush. So all these are really inside rush, so we can get squared up on the target here. I don't like that one as much because he's out of control making contact. That one's a little bit better. I don't like that one as much because, once again, he's a little bit out of control, moving too much momentum forward. You know, big bag drill. I don't know if everybody has this equipment, but this was something that our linemen had, and I would jump over there every once in a while and use the big bags. You know, so this is a particular drill you could do. And then we're transitioning to what I term close quarters work, where we're given in a simulated rush. One guy's the blocker, one guy's the rusher, and we're just really working close quarter stuff there. And then here's some one-on-one pass protection work, the good, the bad. We can coach up and talk about sets. So we're dealing with outside rushers right now, so we want the set to be on the inside number. Okay, we don't want to square up an outside rusher like we just did, because that gives the rusher a three-way go, over the top, inside or outside. I want to try to eliminate him to a two-way go. He's got to go over the top and bull rush me, or he's got to beat me around the edge, but my body position on my set should take away the inside rush. Okay, strike my hands. I'm going to extend. I'm going to keep my head out of the block. Okay, now we're working interior rush. So now it's more of a midline set. I've got to be able to punch. Good set. And then we got to work to run them by the quarterback. Let me just, because this happened quick and I want to coach this point up. Okay, so watch LeGarrette here. We're going to have contact. The linebacker is going to work and get to the depth of the football. And this doesn't matter if it's an interior rush or if it's an exterior rush. But when the linebacker or the rusher gets to the level of the football, they've got to do one of two things. They're going to continue on the rush path and end up behind the quarterback, or they're going to counter back inside. And so when we get these spin counters, the one coaching point we make and talk about ad nauseum is, once again, when I make contact, I want to grab cloth and I want my hands to stay on the defender. If the defender tries to counter with a spin, I'm going to take my inside hand off the block so he can spin, and then I'm going to punch him with my inside arm again. If I keep my hands, I know, hopefully you guys can see me, if I keep my hands engaged and I have my hands and I'm grabbing cloth and that defender spins inside, what ends up happening is he pins my arm into my body and spins off inside, and now I have nothing to block him with. So you're going to see LeGarrette here. It's going to happen quick. But when the defender spins, you're going to see his inside hand come off and then punch as he gets ready to be in position to handle this counter. Okay, and it happened quick. I got a better, I know what they're doing on these spins, so I can see it. There's another good example of the spin inside, the counter inside. My hand's got to come off and it's got to get back on the blocker. If I keep my hands on, I'm going to get my arm collapsed. Okay, so that's one of the coaching points that we'll use versus counter spins. And then, as we're all talking about, we've got to fight, get our hands back inside if we lose leverage and we miss with our punch. Okay, a good job there in terms of trying to fight and finish. The contact part, you know, the linebacker kind of knocks us back. We're a little bit high, but it's a great fight and finish through the whistle. Gives the quarterback a chance. Okay, nice and easy here, outside rush, blocking a DB. We don't got to go kill him. Okay, just get in position. Okay, inside out, no issues there. Okay, another nice job here, staying inside out. Good job with the finish. Okay, so force it to be a bull or an outside rush. Don't give them the opportunity to beat us inside. Okay, another nice job off the play fake. Okay, kind of saw that same. It was a different action yesterday, but in the game yesterday, right? Fournette couldn't get back in front of Brady on the one interception on the play pass. Just being able to step to your work when you see your work come, and then be able to deliver a strike low to high. Okay, so once again, just some examples of us at work in terms of the pass protection, and trying to put all that together, trying to put the set together, trying to put the punch together, and working like hell to try to put the finish together. That's some of the things that I try to work with in terms of a drill standpoint. Hopefully some of the things you understand why we're doing it, try to explain it. First of all, any questions on anything you guys saw, and answer those things. And then if not, then we'll kind of turn it over and let some other guys share some of the things they like to do.
From a pass protection standpoint, when you do the drill with the linebackers, how anal are you with their first step? Like, do you care if they step with that inside foot first to cut them off, or are you just more so teaching it like just close the space and then, try to cut him off once he gets there? Or are you caring about that first initial step? If he's on the left side and he's coming off the edge, step with the right foot first to make sure that you, cut him off and allow him to only go outside. So how are you teaching the first step?
Yeah, on the first step, I haven't been real anal. I'm more anal in terms of when we get to what I term that contact point. Right. 2 yards in the backfield, if it's on the line of scrimmage rusher, when we get to that contact point, just making sure we're in the correct leverage. And when I say correct leverage, let's say we're talking an exterior rusher, I want to, two things, you can think of it two ways. I want to be set on his inside number. That's one. Some guys understand that and know exactly what you mean when you say that. Other guys, I got to say, I want your inside foot inside of his inside foot. Mm-hmm. Because if you're there, you're on his inside number.
Right.
If you look down or if you stop the film when guys are in pass pro on a perimeter rush and their feet are lined up square with the defender's feet, they haven't taken away the inside rush because they're squared up on the defender and they're allowing the guy to still beat them inside. So inside number, if the guys get that, perfect. If I say inside number to a guy and he still set square, then I say, get your inside foot inside of his inside foot. And then that usually is my way to get him to correct it.
Coach, do you have a eye placement at any? Because I heard you tell him, you said you want him low to high.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular way you want that head to fit in?
Yeah, well, it's going to be numbers. When you say, is there an aiming point? The aiming point would be the numbers.
Okay.
Because in a perfect world, when we would make contact for me, I would want my hands and my face mask striking the defender at the same time. Like, I haven't had a lot of guys now, 33 on the film that you just watched could do it, but I haven't had a lot of guys that can only strike with their hands and stop the defenders. They gotta, to me, I've had to coach guys to put their whole body, their face mask, their hands into the punch part. So that's what I would like to be initially hitting and then being able to get the head back out of the block after contact is how I've coached it up.
And just to add to that, I think the key is, and I've done like research over the years, that your hat placement is so important. Like if you break down the ones that are successful and the ones that fail, it's all hat placement. But there's a higher percentage that you'll get the job done if you got your head inside the framework of that body of the defender. If that makes sense to you.
And when you say that, T. Rich, you're talking about, I 100% understand and agree on the perimeter rush. On an A-gap rush, still, you're thinking more slight inside as opposed to square when you're coaching that up?
On A-gap rush, especially if I'm aligned in the B-gap, I'm going to watch that. I want to square him up, but I'm thinking because of the angle I'm hitting him on, even though he's rushing on the A-gap to my side, I'm trying to put him in the opposite A-gap or B-gap.
Almost, I want to be careful how I say this, but almost like a trap block, almost.
Yeah, pretty much. pretty
Okay.
much.
Okay.
Because the thing about it is, if you run too hard to get inside out on him, you're gonna be off balance. He's just gonna go around you.
Right. And yeah,
Right.
and that's that.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I talk about being square on the defender and not
Yes.
picking a side on a. But shit, good points. Anybody else got some stuff they want to add to that?
I think too, I'm real big on the feet. I think at times some of the guys get the base too wide. Like some of your guys out of coach, the base was just too wide
Yep.
to go lateral if you had to go lateral if you try to make a move
Yep.
to hand
Agree.
fight. So to me, I'm real big on trying to keep those feet in there just wider than shoulder width, because that was going to be one of the drills I was going to show.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. right.
Always, just to chime in with what you said, Coach, always tell them you're basically blocking like, kind of like you're squatting. You know what I'm saying? You want that same squat base because that's where your power base is at. So you can't get too wide. Nobody squats real narrow.
Yeah.
It's just right in that happy squat medium.
I tell them I want you in the clean. I said, all I need you, I said, just like you about to clean. That's what I need. Get
Okay.
the feet just like you about to clean.
And those are all good buzzwords because it's stuff they're hearing all the time anyway. You're transferring the weight room now to the field as opposed to the classroom to the field, which is perfect. Well, Lee, if you want to, man, if you're ready, if you want to share your screen and go over some of that pass pro, that'd be great.
But I did. So I do this drill called fall drill. I call it fall drill. And it's basically my fit. And I'm trying to do two things, if you can see both of these guys doing it. So the guy holding the ball is going to just fall. Like literally, I want him to fall forward. And I want my guy here, close the distance, strike underneath, and make sure he fits. Okay, we use the bag sometimes, the little ball, to make sure the hands are getting inside, just like you said, you're working with the guy with the elbows. And now, and at times, what I want is I want to create distance with this. So I want to teach this our young man that you got to be moving to close that distance. So just like what the young man was talking about, what foot is up and forward, I'm not big on the footwork. I'm big on closing the space. So if you watch this, the young man right here in front does a good job. Now, what I would say about him, and I tell him, I don't like that foot so far underneath there. And then I need to tell my guy with the bag, and I'll tell him, maybe you punch too high in there and bring the head in. So this is fall drill. Now this young man does it even better, but now he looks like he catches. His guy doesn't fall though. So I have to tell the kids, you got to fall. I want you to fall forward. Now, did you see the kid on the backside did it completely wrong? Young man, freshman, never really blocked. That's what I tell offensive high school coaches. If you could teach any kid, teach them how to block. At least teach their feet how to come. So the one kid goes second. He's still trying to get it. And he finally goes. And you see how he's underneath, but he's not in a good clean stance. His feet is back too far. He's way underneath. Just all incorrect. So it took us a time to get him going. But if you watch this one kid, and then now he's a little bit better. See my one right here in front? Exactly what I want. I would prefer his guy falling more to help him with it so he can catch that with that resistance. So then here is us with practice doing it. And in practice, I want the same thing. I want you to close that distance. I always say, if he's going 110, you better be going 120. If he's going 100, you're going, 110. And I want that distance closed, and I'm big on leverage. So I want you inside leverage. And our feet should be just like the O-line's feet. It should all fit with the wall. It should all fit with the wall. Now, to me, with him, this guy, I really want him more leveraged inside because I don't want that guy to make a move inside on him. But because that O-lineman isn't covered and can play that if he needs to come back, we're okay. And again, he's square. The base is decent for me. Yeah, but then I got to add a couple of game film clips because I also teach them to cut too. I'm a big person and I tell them in the same way we're doing fall drill coming from that position, you can also, get a good cut if he's going too fast.
Anybody else got something they want to share with the group?
Yeah, Dave. I'm gonna see if I can.
There you go.
Can you
Yep.
see it?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. So I'm big on transitional running, and what I'm talking about with transitional running is two things. There's two types of ways you can run. You can either run violent or elusive. All right. And also with transition, we're talking about your ball transition. Just basic fundamentals: running right, tuck right; running left, tuck left. So this is just a simple drill, and I don't have any film on it, but these are pop-ups that I put 3 yards from the sideline. Okay, and they're spaced like 5 yards apart, and there's a start and finish. So there's a cone on each side. So the finish, you can make it 5 yards, you can make it 3 yards, whatever. But really, if you do the math, 5, 10, 15, 20, it's like a 20-yard drill. Okay, and what I'm working two things in terms of violent running. Okay, I'm working the shoulder drop, okay, and lift techniques. All right, because yards are so precious. So we're trying to get every possible yard we can. So this is basically a violent sideline drill, okay? And also, in terms of like the shoulder drop, and also what I do is I teach the stiff arm. Okay, so just a quick deal. We got the ball in our left arm. Okay, we're running through this. We're running down the sideline. We got 3 shoulder drops where we're trying to drop our shoulder and rip through the defender and not lose any speed, and stay in bounds. All right, and try to get as much yards as possible. Okay, so we'll work that on the way up with our left hand. Obviously, on the way back, you'll carry the ball in your right hand. Okay, now I know how many times have you seen, okay, a guy let a defender get to their body because their transitions are messed up. They're running to the left, they got the ball in the right, so they have nothing, to stiff arm the defender or to impede the defender from getting to your body. All right, so I think this is a good drill to kind of like fix that and correct those ball transitions, because a lot of guys like to carry the ball in their dominant arm. Okay, and it's also a good drill again in terms of, I call it a weapon of choice. You got 2 weapons. You got your stiff arm and you got your shoulder drop. Okay, and the elusive part of it, what I would do, I would actually use combinations, commands in this drill. So the first bag, I would say like, okay, I want you to stiff arm the first bag. I want you to jump cut the second bag, get back outside, all right, and then drop your shoulder on the last bag. That's all transition running. That's transitioning from elusive, all right, to violent running, okay? And then also is helping with your ball transitions in terms of running right, tuck right, run left, tuck left. And it's just a drill that I mean, Dave talked about, your daily drills. This is one of the daily drills that I live by, and I do it all the time, because on a given run, you can never predict, what tools you may have to use. Some of the scat backs, like some scat backs, they're running the football and all they're doing is throwing fakes, and then you got some bruisers, all they're doing is running and dropping their shoulder, but you got a guy like Adrian Peterson, who's violent and elusive, and he brings all his tools, to the game. Every time he touches the football, that's what we're trying to create with this drill right here. Okay.
Yeah, appreciate that. Good stuff, man.
Oh, Coach, hold on. I mean, if somebody wanted, I forgot, I didn't do this. Can I share real quick? If you guys want to screenshot this or whatever, this is kind of my slide
Okay.
board. I don't know if you guys. This is like the initial slide. This is the teach slide with it, of kind of how I teach it. I'm a kind of armpit guy. Based off of my little boxing coming up, play half a body all the time. And then here's one of the photos that we kind of show in it. But if you guys want to
put that photo back up, Coach. I do. I'm gonna snap a picture. Yeah, leave that for 1 second. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't think like that clip will play anymore because of those kids that was older.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the fall drill.
All right. Perfect.
And then I think those game clips, here, I'll show you one quick game clip. Close the distance. Now they got two. He needs to play off. And there's that one where you're saying you wash him. Like I said, I teach the cut block. I mean, and if you attack and he's going to, now that you change your speed with his speed, and that's that Asian kid that I showed you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that kid blocks. You know, so just a little bit there.
Okay.
Great equalizer.
Yep. It's a tool in the toolbox, but you can't use it all the time.
All the time. No. And then, hey, if I showed you the play after that, the kid tried to jump over. But that's why I tell him, don't fall on your chest. I said, scrape that arm up. And the kid went to try to jump over and literally flipped on his head. And he had to catch it.
Okay.
I said, why did you catch the kid? He said, I didn't want him to fall on his head, coach. I said, oh my God, this is the other opponent. This new age kind of kid.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And anybody else want to take the control, share and show something?
I will, Coach. Just actually to Coach Lang's point, we've talked the last couple of weeks about the fake cut to go high. Does anybody have like any drill work on that at all?
I would
Just kind of a feel thing.
Yeah, I don't have drill work.
Find some for you.
Yeah.
But I do a cut blocking drill, kind of
Same
just
here.
like when I did with a bag.
Yeah.
And I just got to find it. I'll share it with you.
Yeah. I mean, we cut block all the time. So we got the cut blocking down, part of it down. But it's a matter of working on that to a low to high kind of a concept.
I teach it off the same thing of my fall drill so that they don't fall. And some people do it differently. I don't like the guys to fall on your belly. I don't want that.
Yeah, no.
I want you attacking, and I tell them, I don't want you hitting the knee. I want you to hit the thigh. Just like you see that one. That kid, when he cut him, he went for the thigh. He put the shoulder pad in the thigh.
Do the thigh board.
The kid's knee. So I want the thigh. And then as you cut through, bring the foot through and the arm to bring it up, to bring them up. So that's one of the big things.
So when we cut block, we'll cut block on like either a stand-up bag or on like one of those tackle rings.
Yeah.
To work on that stuff. If we were going to teach it that way, they have to work on a moving target on a tackle ring or on like one of those softer big bags. So it's got to flip over. If you go too low, it's just going to fall down. If you hit it high enough, it'll have so you know where you're getting the right target.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I first started coaching about years ago, I had a coach that he was a big veer option guy. So you had to be able to cut on the back side because they were zone stepping and he wanted that end down. And I remember taking the transition of that and teaching those guys.
That's how you got to do it.
And it was just, like you said, it was a tool in the toolbox.
Okay.
I will, I'll share. What I'll share here is I was going to show stiff arm stuff, the stuff I got from T. Rich, believe it or not, when he was at the second stint at UConn. When saw you guys in your first year back there, and we actually used it, and our kid actually gave a kid a concussion doing it. Stiff arm drill. So, but which is, I'll show you guys that play if you want. But we'll go. But I'm going to show you some of the ball security work that we do. Let's fast forward this. Hopefully, it's clear. Anytime you can stiff arm a guy, give him concussions. Hey, it is what it is. Poor 17. It is what it is. All right. Everybody see that?
Yes.
All right. So we were doing this with all of our skill guys. So the quarterbacks are off to the right of the screen. They're just throwing a nice catchable ball. Guys got to work on catching the football, turn it up. We had taken basically hockey sticks, wrapped towels, and tape around them. Guys had to catch the ball in traffic, get some guys whacking them with agiles and finish, catch and turn and finish. Did it basically every day, in and out of pads. So we, what work on catching the football.
Mhm.
So you don't be, and this was like a number of years ago. So we had some guys who were extremely soft, and had some guys who you could tell were trying to get a little better. This is some bad ball and some guys who were, So
I tell you too, Kev, with this particular drill, like the gentleman that's going with the hockey stick in front, he could
Yeah.
also use that as a distraction drill too.
yep,
You know what I mean?
no doubt.
So you can tie distraction and some ball security into this drill.
Trying to get guys to learn how to finish a little bit.
It kind of goes without saying, but this is a good drill too to teach the ball to get tucked soon,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
basically as soon as they're catching, it's one step and it's contact. So this
Yep.
is a nice drill for a few different things.
Got to the point where, so our league is, you got people who are way too smart, including trainers. So they got a little concerned about the sticks hitting guys. So, and then at the end, you make the quarterbacks have to just run through. Because of course, if you're gonna try to run the quarterback, they gotta be good in ball security as well. So. And it pays dividends because at the end, that year, we've probably lost, I would say 3 fumbles in 4 years. So
Okay,
it pays dividends. It adds up.
good.
I
Good
think
stuff.
you get what you emphasize. So
All right, who's next? Who's got something they want to share?
This is during my run time up with the quarterbacks. I try to get a lot of simulation in there, real life simulation, second level stuff. Kind of to T. Rich's point, I teach the stiff arm as well. So what I end up using is I use a little rectangular bag and I shoot it at them from different angles to give them a nice hard target to work on that stiff arm, try to get good timing on it. It's a good workout for me as well. You try to get them to go through that, and working the timing of it so that can show up in games. And I do it 2 ways. I do it when that hand is free, and I also do it when the hand isn't free. So that when you have it show up in the game, here's it where his hand is free, it's going to go to the end zone. Right, kind of same deal as cutting back. Has that free hand, is able to use that stiff arm right there to maximize the yards.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Another one right here. Same thing. He'll have the ball in his left hand. Going back, again, good timing on the stiff arm, right? Maximizing those yards. I'm a big believer in the stiff arm, right? T-Rich, it seems like it doesn't get talked about as much as it used to back in the day.
Exactly.
For a reason.
Yes.
It's such a valuable tool. And I don't really stress which hand the ball is in. Sometimes kids are just more comfortable, and sometimes with the same side runs, whatever hand it ends up in. So doing the same thing here now, where now that hand isn't free. Okay, just work on just rolling your shoulder, protecting the ball, getting low and kind of ripping through contact there. To still essentially give yourself an opportunity with that. You should see that clip here. Same thing, should have the ball in his right hand, I think. Yep, right, and it's not free, but just kind of rolling on it, protecting himself, right, just to go into drill. So we were still at least able to maximize that. So that's with the stiff arm during this runtime up drill. The other one I will do as well, kind of working on a shake drill. I just call it a dip and slip, kind of where that defender is either square on you downhill, or it's coming at you kind of from the outside in, just working on dipping that shoulder in there, slipping on the outside. Constantly trying to, you can really do any kind of finisher you can think of, you can do. You can just run straight at him with the bag, make him juke you, spin you, whatnot. But I'm trying to create real speed scenarios when I like doing it during that time up drill with the quarterbacks, is they're getting to go through at full speed. From the stance to start through the handoff, I'll give them a predetermined read, pre-snap. We're working on the second level stuff. So they have those opportunities, they're able to make the most of those opportunities. We got to be able to take care of the extra hat. You're responsible for the extra hat. I drill it into my guys. I make them believe that that they understand you're responsible for making at least one guy miss. And making him miss doesn't necessarily mean you shook him. Sometimes it might just be you've just straight ran through him. All right. So the next piece of that, in running through him now, you can do this two ways. Here I just have, again, the square bag. I'll throw it at them, just working on accelerating through. I usually do this like this day. It was like a short yardage day. So I got right into it, got the mind right, just working on accelerating through contact, right? Short yardage goal line, drilling that. You can also do it, you can do it with two pop-ups. I'm only at one pop-up on this day, but just having that right there, just getting them to accelerate through contact. Really getting them to play low. A couple of these guys, like some of them are a little bit of a waist bender, like 31, like them to get a little bit lower. But at least I like the acceleration through contact, the key with that, right? And again, you get in a situation on the goal line where you got to be able to run through contact. You're just looking for that acceleration. So just getting that drilled and hammered into them, seeing that acceleration show up in the game. Another one right here, right? Just being able to see that and drill that constantly into them, making them become big believers of that. I have one more thing here. Right, and if you want to change the angle up, maybe they got to make a jump cut or whatnot. But same thing, being able to just get that foot in the ground, vertical, accelerate through contact. Again, a lot of those real life simulations. But I want to be able to see that acceleration so that when it shows up in the game, you're able to prepare them accordingly forward. And I spend a lot of time during this runtime up of working finishers. I'll do some first level read stuff, like for our outside zone or pin and pull, but I'm really working on, the finishers first and foremost with all of that. The other thing I want to throw in there, not run related, chip drills. So some of you guys that do chips, we didn't really chip until the playoffs last year, right? We were getting ready to play North Dakota State in the national championship. They had this unbelievable two DNs. So I had to kind of get my guys ready to chip in a matter of 2 weeks. So I'll do this. I don't have the actual drill, the indie part, but I'll have a pop-up standing here. Okay. Wrong mouse, excuse me. I'll have a pop-up standing right here, like an indie drill, and I'll stand there with the shield, and I'll have them work around, really working on striking low to high, same foot, same shoulder. The aiming point is you want to put that shoulder right on his rib cage, right? Put sauce on ribs, make him feel hurt. I always tell my guys, you're doing it right. When as soon as you hit him, you hear him say, that's how you know you hit him in the right spot. So same foot, same shoulder, aim for those ribs, and then trying to steal some extra reps in it. I do a lot of this during 7-on because I'm not trying to kill RDNs, right? I'll steal some of those rep times where it's just me getting my workout in and getting that work in for them so they can get the full speed reps and trying to get underneath the guy, right? Just again, using that with the shield is good. And you kind of want to, the key is so you don't hurt yourself. When they hit you with the bag, you kind of want to give with it as well. So, right, so as you're holding that shield up, when they're coming to hit you with the bag, I don't know if you guys can see me, right? When they kind of hit you with the bag, kind of give it as well and kind of spin off of it for your own self as a coach so that you don't get hurt, right? You will have those guys who are going to try to get a free shot on you if they can, obviously. And just a couple game clips here, right? One, simple spin. It's not a great job, got the job done. Didn't really set the tone the way I wanted to, but at least able to keep them clean. Here's another one on the edge. This one's a little bit better. Right, good timing of it. I like that he's low. Okay, I guess at the end, a little bit of job kind of slipping in, but he does a job nice and low. You see the same foot, same shoulder, leaning through it. He's really exploding through. Was able to knock him down, keep him clean. And then one more here on the left side. They're coming around. Okay, and really that's what I'm looking for right there. Really nice and low through, hitting them well, right? Get some help from the tackle there. But that's really what you're looking for in those chips. And if you're teaching the chips, when you're teaching those chips, it's a matter of you don't go out of your way to look for the chip. As you're exiting, if he's in your path, go ahead and hit him, right? If he's not there, just go ahead and out to your route. Unless, of course, you're game planning a situation where it's an absolute dude, it's Von Miller, whoever, and you want to make sure that we got to get this guy chipped no matter what. The route is second there. Then obviously you can tell him to kind of to kind of work on it accordingly. So I just wanted to show you guys those two things. And with the mesh period, whatever finishes you can think of at the end, you can mix anything in there. But I think it's a great way to get some full speed simulation for those guys to get them better at the second level.
With the chip, are they still dual reading that like play side backer to that? What if that play side backer came?
I mean, protection is always first. So you still got your protection rules. Hopefully the guys can do most of their work pre-snap, right?
Okay.
Obviously, again, if it's funky, you might get there late. And if you don't get the chip, you don't get the chip. Protection is always first within that, you know? So if they get a clean read, like North Dakota State didn't do a lot of disguising. So we were able to see a lot of stuff pre-snap. So they kind of already knew when the ball is snapped, I should be able to get a clean chip. If you're playing an exotic team, you might not get that, you know, because you're busy scanning because you're not getting a lot of indicators, or you're getting some false indicators of anything else. But always protection first. Protection first.
So some of it was kind of game planning for that group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else want to take control?
Yeah, I'll throw a couple up.
Okay, great.
We kind of get the short end of the stick when it comes to practice film, so I don't got much in the film category, but just showing one drill that I like to do with our run read stuff. And this isn't really more for the run read action of the running backs. Really, I just want them to work on the kind of body movement aspect of it and just visually moving their eyes quickly based on what I'm doing. So all we're doing here is just our inside zone work. We read bang, bang, bounce. So again, simply just putting the tailback in the bang hole as first as where he's attacking. I'm standing right here as the C in between these two bags right here. So all I'm trying to get is we have the bang lane. If I don't step into it, all right, and as far as how we fill it, but they're just going to make their read off of that. So if I want to work the bend back side of things, I'll stand here. I'm like, hey, if I step into the bang hole, all right, you're going to put yourself back on the bend side. All right, so put your foot in the hole here and then jump back, jump cut off it or speed cut off of it, depending on how I move the bags. Like, if you got to really kind of, again, laterally move through it and then put your foot in the ground, get vertical again, we kind of have the jump aspect of it. Or if it's a soft edge, really try and keep them moving with speed, maintaining speed, so they can get through the hole and get vertical as fast as possible. So I will vary up kind of how this bag looks, being here, a little bit further down, whatnot, or again, on that angle, if I want to keep them vertical and moving with speed. All right. But again, just training them to, again, attack the bang gap. If I don't step into it, they stay with it hard and keep their speed. If I do step into it, move myself into the bang gap like so. All right. Then they're going to cut off that, put their foot in the ground, again, take that speed angle cut or a jump cut, and then get back vertical again. And then if I want to work the bounce side of things, again, I'll just move myself over to this side, step into the gap into the bang gap if I need to. All right, then they can press it, jump cut, all right, and follow their track up this way, get vertical again. So that's really kind of how we work our bang bang bounce, because that's the big how we teach our running backs to read the gaps as they're attacking the line of scrimmage. Again, one note I do have on this: at first I was always keeping this bag in line with this one right here. But I was finding like it's not getting them into pressing the heels of the line of the scrimmage or pressing the heels of the linemen like I want them to. So again, I'd move this bag a little bit further back. So again, they're not running into it. They can get into the bang gap a little bit further, because again, hopefully our offensive line is creating a new line of scrimmage, getting some displacement. So again, training the running back to trust that that's going to happen. Again, getting that bang gap a little bit further, because hopefully, again, that line's moving up, creating a new line of scrimmage, and then they can put their foot in the ground and cut back off it. I got that actually from Matt there a little bit in some of his inside zone footwork, which was really good. I like that a lot. So again, that's just a simple bang, bang, bounce drill that I like to do with them. Again, more, not so much for the read part of it, but again, just getting their body work and understanding how to, manipulate their body, get the balance, get the footwork right. So that was a big one for us. We like to do that one a lot, and that's kind of an EDD for us. On the other side of things, just from a bag drill, kind of a second level work drill. What we got here? So this one here, again, just a little footwork in the beginning of the drill. Again, working on a little bit of a speed cut part of it. the big thing I want out of this one, I guess for me holding the bag and then for them, I don't want to I tell them I'm not moving the bag for you to react off of. I want you to make a move on me. I'll react to the bag or I'll react to you. And then from there, again, if you have the ball in your left hand and he's going to make a move to the left side of the bag, again, you're going to use your stiff arm. Or if the ball's in your wrong hand, I want you to, again, protect it, reduce the surface of the shoulder a little bit, roll it over, kind of like Matt was saying right there. All right, protect the ball and move through with some speed. So again, just a little bit of footwork in the beginning of it, get a little bit of a speed cut. And then again, they're making their move. I'm moving the bag to it, and then they got to adjust off it. These are two of my freshmen. That's all we had up here in the fall. But again, you can just see here now. All right, I caught you with the bag. Now you got to react with the hand. All right, put your stiff arm out there. Be ready to play some defense or have a defensive move. All right, to continue to get the yards that you need to do. So just again, a quick little easy one for second level. Again, any move for them is available. So here he moves it, turns it into a spin. It's not that great. We're working on these guys to clean it up. He's getting way too wide. I'd like to keep him nice and tight and get back vertical again. All right, work that footwork. But again, I only have my two freshmen with me this fall. But again, just a quick little one, quick little hitter that we'll use. Try to work on that second level finish a little bit with some of the footwork on the beginning side of things. So just a couple little drills I had in the bag.
Nice.
Okay. This was good. I really, it's 9:55, so I'm gonna, we're probably a little over. I'm gonna kind of cut this off here once everybody gets their stuff in here and guys can take a picture of it. But this was really good. I really appreciate guys sharing and having some stuff ready, because it just makes the presentation so much better and allows everybody to learn, you know what I mean, and get some other tools. I'll have this probably all edited up and on the link there, probably Wednesday. Usually takes me a day to kind of edit it and get it cleaned up, and then I'll have that put up there probably, like I said, on Wednesday. And then what you said, Jared, in terms of trying to get some of that practice plan and development plan stuff up a little bit more. I'll move that up here. I don't know if we'll do it next week, but we'll do it here in the next couple weeks. We'll get that up there so you can get yourself ready to roll, with some ideals of putting that stuff together. Okay.
All right now. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, coaches.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Out too already, Coach. I appreciate that.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
What you sent out already. Thanks for that. I mean, all the I think you sent the YouTube stuff and everything earlier.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And like I said, as soon as I get the film updated, I'll so it'll just add on to there. So I'll put this on there tomorrow, and you guys hopefully Wednesday probably. Let me give myself 48 hours. Then you guys will have that and can get at it when you need it. So.
Yeah, we're starting that post-snap, pre-snap reads. I like that.
Okay, good. All right then, gentlemen. Well, enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Have a great
All
night.
right, good night.
Thanks, coach.
All right, fellas. Yep, take care.